I'm not worried about the micro, but I think about the macro. Oh, I don't know where the fuck this just came from, but I just walked in and saw it. This helps me a lot. Like, what the fuck am I doing with you right now? There's a lot more to do with the fucking showing up to the funeral than it has to do with fucking the bank account. And you know what's funny is if you actually live your life like the funeral, you end up making stuff for the bank account by accident. You end up meeting somebody who, you know? Like it's so crazy when I think about like how I invested in Twitter and made all that money. It was more about giving a shit about my funeral, like doing the right thing by a bunch of people, which, you know, led to going to South by Southwest, which led to me meeting the Twitter guys, which meant, you know, like it's just.
Yeah, like following your passion, following your bliss.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta really think about like how, like, I'll tell you, like, even in 4 seconds, maybe some of the context Robert gave me, maybe I'm making some assumptions, but when you're thoughtful, like, I think one of the things that people struggle with is actually being very real with themselves.
What do you mean?
The difference between being, you know, the difference between understanding who you are versus who you wish you were. And I think that's something that I'm always very fascinated by when I have a meeting like this. Like, what kind of read do you have on yourself? And how, like, you know, I think I would struggle a lot if I didn't really genuinely know who I was. And then once you know who you are, you get more comfortable with what you're up to. The first thing I will tell you, the best thing I think the first best thing I can tell you is don't front. The number one mistake that people that aspire to the sentences that you just spit out of your mouth, the number one mistake they make is they try to oversell themselves because they think they need it to have people's attention.
They try to oversell themselves.
Correct. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Whether it's life coach, inspirational figure, business coach, whatever form it takes, I think it's much smarter for you to talk to the world about your process of going through this than the advice that you think you should be giving them.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And that's where people are struggling. I got real lucky. I've never said this, D-Rock, so pay real close fucking attention. I'm not sure that if the internet was around in its current form, that I would be as successful, because at 22 and 23, I knew I was special, and I might have not been patient enough to first build a business, first get experience. I didn't start talking to the world till I was 35. And I love to say to you, be patient, to you to be patient. I'm not sure if I would have been. I'd like to think I would have been, but the freedom of putting, like, I love to hear myself talk. like, okay. You know, and I think anybody that think about, so do you, and so do so many of you, like that's what it is. And it's nice, there's nothing wrong with that, it sounds bad. It's funny, a lot of what I deal with now is being okay with not being politically correct. Work-life balance, cursing, whatever. Meritocracy, you know, I don't know if you've seen this. Did you see that I was on The Breakfast Club? So I don't know if you watched that interview or some of the content that I've been building on. I'm on a hot no excuses kick. I have a lot of female entrepreneurs. I have a lot of fans that are African Americans. I spent a lot of time in that community in my college years. I just think I'm giving the best advice to women and minorities in business today, which is tough. And it's crazy, like you have to understand, in my body right now, it doesn't feel great. It feels a lot better going somewhere else. The problem is, it's the truth. Like the market just doesn't care. And what's cool is when you actually say, fuck it, then you start betting on your strengths. Do you know I was a businessman in a world where going to smart colleges was the only thing that mattered for businessmen? You were only a good businessman if you went to Harvard Business School. And then I reversed it. I'm a DNF student. Like I curse, I don't dress the part. I do me, and then you know what happened? The world came to me. And so I would tell you that the best thing that you're gonna walk out of here with is something that took me a long time to really realize, is if you wanna pull this off and you want people listening to you, there's only one thing, the truth.
Just more of your authentic voice.
Everybody says that fucking cliche term.
Just be yourself and all that shit.
It's unbelievable how much that's the reason I'm winning. And I think it's easier when you have a level of success, and it's harder when you're climbing up the ladder. But I think that there's a lot of people who, if they talked about the journey of the climb, could win. I think it's the best piece of advice I can give right now to a bunch of 20 to 30 year olds that feel that they should be talking to the world and bringing value. Talk about your journey of trying to find that voice and synthesize it properly versus, go find, because the problem is a 30, 40, 50 year old listening to your 1 minute rant video on Instagram, even if it's powerful, there's a level of cynicism of like, well, what do you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's fair. And look, you could just be a whiz kid about the world, and that exists, but I do think there's a smarter way to context it. It's like starting the sentence of you should versus, it's funny, right now I can say you should because I built so much.
Yeah.
But if I was at 20, it needed to be like, my intuition says, and that changes everything. Or when I look at, or when I met with Gary today, the takeaway I got was, got it?
Yeah. What your perspective is on cultivating relationships with people who not only believe in your ideas, but can actually help fund or will point you to funds. Because right now, all of my friends are broke and trying to create some shit. It's like, I can't borrow from your negative bank account. So like, how do you get into a position where you are around people who are influencers or who also will donate or whatever the case may be?
The market will give you money. The market will give you money, whether it's Kickstarter. I'll give you money. You just have to give somebody what you want it against. So the biggest problem right now is finding money is not the problem. Really, it's not. I'll explain.
That's definitely my problem right now.
Well, let me explain. It's not. It's how you're looking at the world.
Okay.
There's things like AngelList and Kickstarter. Do you know how much harder it was for your mother to get money?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that shit.
Do you know how hard somebody would slap you? Do you know that the 1973 version of you, if he was sitting here, would punch you in your fucking mouth? Because money is the last thing you have to worry about. AngelList, Kickstarter, the world can give it to you. You start a Kickstarter. Can. You know why most of them fail? Because most shit is whack. Because most stuff isn't good. Because most people don't give a fuck. You can go to AngelList and hit up all the angel investors. The real question is, before you go there, is I think most people say, everybody says to me, Gary, I can't find money. And then I go, cool, I'll give you money. What do you got? And then they don't know. So tell me, what am I buying? Your brand? What, in perpetuity?
Yeah.
Got it? We're living through a really interesting time in the world right now where people don't where art and science and business are colliding, and they're all very different. I understand the art that's in your heart, but how are you gonna, see, I got lucky. I had the art and the business. But okay, what am I buying? There's no buying. Look, buying into Gary Vaynerchuk would have been a really good idea for a lot of people, but it wasn't for sale. And I didn't even know how to sell that. What do you sell? What are you gonna make 20% of my speaking fees, or my book deal, or my TV deal? Just right? I guess you can do that. I actually do think that plays out over time. But if I said to you, cool, I got money for you, what are you selling me? What I would say is, what's the container I'm putting my money in? You could have unlimited content. You could have 4,000 episodes of a podcast and the greatest Instagram account I've ever seen and the funniest Snapchat and Instagram stories I've ever seen. Great.
So that's not inherently letting people know what they're investing in.
That lets them know a little bit about you, but what's the vessel? Got it?
So you're saying.
So when I meet Fuck Jerry, or when I meet the Fat Jewish, I know they've got attention on Instagram 3 years ago that really matters. What am I investing in? Oh, Fat Jewish, you're making a rosé? Oh, I can put $25,000 into that and own 8%? Now you've given me something to put the container in. Oh, Fuck Jerry, you wanna become BuzzFeed? You're gonna build a website and have traffic and sell ads? You gotta come to me and say, what am I investing in? You have to put your thing into a container that's investable. Nobody's writing a check to a person. And then it gets hard, because once you package it, you have to be able to explain it in business terms. And that's not necessarily what everybody does.
Yeah.
This is where it gets into partnerships. One thing I would tell you based on the vibe I'm picking up, if you and I both grew up in Milwaukee, I would have been a great partner for you because I could have been the businessman to the art, if that's how you're thinking about it. Maybe you're the business part, but it's not what you've been bringing up yet.
I don't know. I've been in a position where I've had to do like both right now. You know.
Well, look, I mean, you should be putting out content on a very regular basis. You should start a pillar show, whether it's, I mean, vlogging I think is very fascinating. You know, you should be doing Instagram stories and Snapchat stories at scale. You should be putting out 7 to 25 pieces of content on both those platforms a day.
A day.
And let me explain how. Don't go fancy. Document versus create. When you make, you like that, right? It's a big shift. When I say 7 to 25, you say, my God, how do I produce 7 to 25 meaningful things that will have me respected? Versus document.
See, that's always the thing, is like meaningful that will get me respected. I feel like anybody can put out shit, you know, and I don't want to put out shit.
But shit is subjective, my man. And I got good news for you. You're fully in control.
Yeah.
People are always like, Gary, I'm in control. You know how many things I say no? They send me quotes to put out on Instagram? Nope. I'm in control. Who makes the final call on like productions? The producer, the director, I don't know, whoever. Who's the final person? Producer. Great, you're the producer, my man.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, you take a selfie with a nice skyline and you're like, yeah. But you gotta put out stuff. And you gotta fabricate it. Like when you're like, I still can't believe how many people that live in New York don't use New York people. If I were you and I had an hour right now, go in the fucking park right now, like, I don't know, like go back to your basketball roots, stand outside the garden right there and be like, what do you think about the Knicks' upcoming season? Yeah, interview 4 people, one person gets into a thoughtful conversation. He was the former ball boy in 1957, it's a nice story, and boom. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
People aren't starting.
People aren't starting.
They're just not making. They're thinking, they're pondering, they're strategizing, they're debating. The difference between people like me and the far majority is I'm just doing at all times. I'm doing so much that I've decided to have a fucking man walk around with a camera and follow me, because who knows when it's gonna happen. And you know what's so funny? In parallel in my brain right now, when you're gonna leave here, I'm gonna say to him, D-Rock, I want this whole thing cut, the whole thing. Like what I'm giving you, so many need right now. So I'm like, fuck it, let's just put it out, right?
Right. So like you mentioned before, you know, you have to be putting out content all the time. I personally go through these periods of like extreme creativity and extreme just chill. You know, like I'm not feeling it. How do you motivate yourself, or how do you continue this process of like go, and balance that with like self-care and checking in with yourself? You know.
I do what feels right to me.
You do what feels right to you?
Yeah, so if I gotta check out for the week, I check out for the weekends all the time, no creations. People are like, where's your Snapchats? Like, I don't know, gotta be with my family. Like, I don't punish myself. Listen, this is back to, do you know yourself? Or do you aspire to be something you might actually not be? This is the toughest question of it all, my man. I mean, if you wanna be respected and really known,
show up.
Show the fuck up. Are you fucking kidding me with going a week without doing something? You know, I don't know how much into my content you are, but I always say, nobody you've ever met got there without the hard work. Nobody you know. It's just real. You know, do you know how insane the Daily V and the Snapchat stories has been to everybody? They didn't realize how hard I was going at it. You can't believe how many people, you know how many fucking people used to say the word luck? That word luck has gone right back. Like, nobody has the audacity to say that to my face now, and I love it. And that's why I did it. I made it for you because you can watch it and be like, okay. But I think yours is different. I think a lot of theirs is different. It's because I'm not fancy about it. Document over create. I mean, there's so much magic going on. Dude, you're in fucking New York City. You know how many people, again, I'm gonna cut this whole thing because it's the advice everybody needs. You know how many of them sitting in a place that's not New York City? You got a billion fucking stories out there. You don't feel motivated that you need to tell a story today or create? Go let somebody else to do it. You have so much charisma. You walked in here in 2 seconds. You walked in here in 2 seconds and I'm like, okay, this kid's got a little mad. Like, you can roll up on anybody and get them feel comfortable. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so fucking awesome. So you can't create? Distribute.
Ooh.
Got it? You can't create today?
That's a
facilitate. You know? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for not talking to the world. It just doesn't have to be your thoughts and words every time.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I'm on fire right now. I'm on fire, D-Rock.
Do you have like a few more minutes?
Yeah, look, I'm going until they pull me out. You're already 8 minutes over,
Building
so
a
you're
team.
winning. Yeah.
Building a team.
Don't
How-
even worry.
how
Don't
do you
even
keep
think
up?
of. You're not even close to that
Why not? What do you mean?
because you don't have the money to like really build the team, right? You can have homies help you out along the way. Truth
I
is,
feel like I've exhausted those resources though. You know?
good. Let me give you a real good answer. I got a feel for you right now.
Yeah.
You need to work on you before you worry about a team.
What do you mean?
I mean, you got to get your shit together. Like you're responding to the right thing. Like I don't know much. What I do well is I talk, and then through reaction I listen. So that's how I get a lot done in a meeting like this, right? I could tell that you've got certain things that you need to do before you worry about a team. Get your thing in place.
Consistency first.
Yeah, get great at what we just talked about. If I go look now, and I'm gonna check, now I'm curious. If I go look in a couple weeks, and I'm like, oh my God, six, Instagram stories per day, like fucking, 4 Instagram posts, like he's been on Twitter on point, his Facebook, oh, he's got a YouTube channel now, I'm just, like create, distribute, do all that stuff, interview, like, there's so much creative shit, man. Like I'm way more creative than I realized because stuff comes so natural to me. Like for example, like do a meme, and that's just a slang term for it, like go take a picture on every odd street in New York, in Manhattan. Like I don't know, like go start at 113 and then 111 and 109, like anything could be, like, right? Like call it Odd Corner and just literally do an interview every day on Instagram for a minute, starting at 113th all the way down.
Fun.
That's cool, right?
Yeah.
And like that's I'm just making shit up. Like I don't know, like Odd Corner, hashtag Odd Corner. It's your show. Every fucking Monday you go to fucking 113th, the next week 111th, and literally you stand there until somebody walks by and you interview that person, and that's the fucking show. I think what I'm good at is building a pillar up top that creates content below. Daily V, Ask Gary V show, right? And then all flows from there. Where did this quote come from? I don't know. Like somewhere along the way,
Yeah.
that's what's powerful. And I think you need to, I think one thing that people struggle with is it needs to come from them, and it needs to come from the structure down instead of, got it? And that's why you wake up and you're like, damn, I'm not feeling, like, how hard it is to manifest that kind of original creative thing from the bottom?
Yes.
But if you literally lived your life under show, think of yourself as like CNN or MSNBC. Monday is Odd Corner, that's it. Like if you whiteboarded now on like mini shows that you could do, Monday's Odd Corner, Tuesday's like subway shots, Wednesday's like suburbs. You're just literally going out. Like, and all of a sudden Suburbs clicks, and all of a sudden Toyota's hitting you up and saying, hey, we'll pay you and you'll drive a Toyota to Jersey, to Long Island. You see where I'm going? Mm-hmm. But you gotta put yourself in that position. But what you then are able to do is you don't have to think. You know why podcasts have worked for a lot of people? Because they interview people.
Yeah.
So they don't have to
Other
do the
people
work.
Generate the content inherently.
That's right. That's why when everybody's like, oh, I love this podcast, oh, Gary Vee, and I'm like, you don't get it. They're just interviewing people. I'm creating original from the get. My version of that was, what's a better version of that? Oh, answer people's questions.
Yeah.
Also scalable, but brings value to those individuals and the entire community. Mm-hmm. So, got it?
Got it.
Good, man. Give me an update in 30 days. Send me an email. I'm dead serious.
Good.
This is, you came in here and said, I'd like to start the process of a relationship. Ideas are shit. Execution's the game, right?
Yeah.
Email me in 30 days. Either you're gonna email me in 30 days and say, look what I did, or what you're gonna do is not email me.
Thanks, man.
You got it, brother.
Appreciate you.
Take care.